Anyway, Donald Trump's campaign stop in Arizona is starting.
Well, thank you very much, and a very big hello, Arizona. Hello, Phoenix. I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. You built our country. 74 days from now, can you imagine? 74 days. Then we gently move into that beautiful White House and we take over our country and we make it great again. We're going to win Arizona. We're going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. And we're going to win back our beautiful White House. We're going to win it back. We're going to win it back in record force. Everyone here tonight is part of the greatest political movement in the history of our country. You know, this is the greatest political movement. It's called Make America Great Again. And it's right now bigger and better and stronger than it ever was before. You know, we won in 2016, and we did much better in 2020. A lot of people don't understand that, but we understand it. Millions and millions more votes. But those two are nothing like the spirit that we have now. It's amazing. And that's because we've seen how bad government can be. That's why it's a combination.
You think it's good Trump is great for the world because he will destroy the USA?
Destroying our country is unbelievable, and people have seen it.
Because I don't think you understand, dude. Empires don't just like fucking quietly crumble, okay? They don't just like perish on their own without little harm to others.
You have a common sense with a party of common sense. You say what you want. Nice to say conservative, but really, with a party of common sense, we want fair elections, free elections. We want strong borders. We want a great military. We want great education. We want a nice home and low interest rates or low taxes and no regulations. That's why we're welcoming support from millions and millions of disaffected Democrats, and they are joining like wildfire. Now, it's a little different than it was. You know, we had somebody, I was up 18 points, and they said, Joe, you can't win. You're getting out of the race. No, I want to go and give it a shot. No, Joe, you're getting out of the race, Joe. And if you don't do it the nice way, we'll do it the tough way, Joe. And he said, okay, and now I have a new opponent. This never happened before. We spent $100 million and a lot of time on defeating him. And as soon as he was gonzo, it all started with the debate. The debate. All that time, all that effort. A friend of mine said, you did a terrible job in the debate. I said, why do you say that? Everybody said I was brilliant. They said, no, you got him out of the race with that debate. It's all right. We have to do what we have to do, right? We have to do what we have to do. And now we have somebody that, in theory, should be easier to beat, in theory, because she's a radical left Marxist, and everybody knows it. But we're welcoming the support from millions of disaffected Democrats, independents, moderates, old-fashioned liberals who still believe in things like, little things like borders. I was there yesterday. That's a scary place. Sir, it's about time that you get out of the sun, sir. We're going to have to get you out of here, sir. Let's get the hell out of here. She was the border czar. She presided over the worst border in history, not American history, world history. Democracy, liberty, and of course, always the right of free speech. We don't really have free speech right now. The press, look at all of them. Look at all of them. Look at that. Wow. Man. That's a lot of press. That's a lot of fake news.
The thing is, like, all of those people in Arizona who are radicalized towards the fucking border are never going to vote for Kamala Harris. They're primed, right? But there are probably young Hispanic voters, especially, but young voters in general, that would very likely think about the Kamala Harris campaign in a different way if she communicated in a different fucking way.
A while ago, she changed, didn't she, huh?
Arizona also happens to have a lot of independence, and people think that
changes for minor
people think that you have to have an aggressive stance on the border in Arizona. I disagree.
Consent. How about that one? How would you like that? Without parental consent, can you imagine your kid comes home without parental consent? What happened to my baby? What happened? The true divide in American politics today is between these far-left fascists, led by Harris and her group, and you know who her group is, and citizens of all political backgrounds who love our country, share traditional American values, the values that you have right here in this great state, and look past our differences to unite around a thing called...
They're showing the entire rally because you know Trump was like, we're packing the fucking halls, and I want you to show the entire rally. Like, this is a rally flex now.
Congressman and...
Why does he keep saying borders are when there is none? It is a non-official term that simply means that you were tasked with handling the border. It is correct. People have called Kamala Harris the border czar because that was her job. She was tasked with dealing with the border under the Biden administration.
You burn the American flag, you go to jail for 1 year. Nobody's going to be burning the American flag anymore.
Wait, that's against the First Amendment.
Our opponents worship the deep state. We want to obliterate the deep state. Slight difference. Our opponents, thank you. Our opponents join with warmongers and neocons to wage endless wars, these wars that never end. We don't even know who the hell the country is that we're fighting. We believe that America is strongest when America is at peace. We want peace through strength. That's what we want. Like we had 4 years ago. We didn't have any wars, except we wiped out ISIS very quickly. It was supposed to take 5 years to beat ISIS. I did it in 3 weeks.
See, Mr. Peace candidate, peace through strength.
They support coercive COVID vaccine mandates and want to fire you. If you don't obey, you get fired. We oppose these mandates as a fundamental violation of our God-given rights. We don't want the mandates. We don't want the mandates. They want to arrest their political opponents and silence those who disagree. We reject censorship in all forms, and we believe in freedom, open debate, and fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. Our opponents slander us as a threat to democracy. Trump is a threat to democracy. No, they're a threat to democracy. How many times have you heard, you know, it's a talking point for them, right, Deb? It's a talking point. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. And those guys say it too, because they're the same thing. They're like a part, they're a subsidiary of the Democrat Party. Meanwhile, they rig their primaries. They force out Joe Biden, they force him out of the party. Joe Biden got 14 million votes in an unconstitutional coup, and they appoint a nominee who never got a single vote. And when she ran against this guy, and I'm no fan, he was the worst president in the history of our country. He let in millions and millions of people through her. Let in millions of people would destroy our country. But we're going to get those people out, the people that came in here from jails and prisons and mental institutions. But they threw him out. You know, they ran against each other for the primary, and she never even made it to the first state, the great state of Iowa. Never made it. And now she's the one running. A little strange, isn't it? You see, that's really a threat to democracy if you get right down to it, right? In our movement, we know that democracy does not mean rule by the Democrat establishment. It means rule by the American people.
You missed the ad? The ivermectin ad? I'm a right side broadcaster watcher, like a permanent watcher. You think I miss those ads? I've seen them every day, a million times a day.
Many of these values that we all share, and we've shared them for a long time.
I've bought all the ivermectin.
I don't think too many of you people have heard of him. He's very low key. He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
There's something to be said about like how unimaginably invested they are in being as weird as possible, because here's a guy who somehow was way weirder than the Republicans. They did not pay for them music license. Oh, fuck no, yeah.
For the past 16 months, Bobby has run an extraordinary campaign for President of the United States. I know, because he also went after me a couple of times. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
And I mean this sincerely. Had he been allowed to enter the Democrat primary, he would have easily beaten Joe Biden, but they wouldn't let him in. They put up rules. I've never seen rules like he had to have 65% of the vote in order to run, you know, little things like that. His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. And I know that they are looking down right now, and they are very, very proud of Bobby. I'm proud of Bobby. You want to know the truth? And I don't think I've ever introduced anyone that got applause like he just got. I must tell you, I don't think it's true. I don't think I've ever introduced anybody that got applause like that.
Dude, Robert Kennedy Jr. described Trump before getting promised an admin job. A terrible human being, the worst president ever, and barely human. He probably is a sociopath.
It's true. Soon after I can't even believe I have to say this, nearly assassinated in Pennsylvania last month, Bobby called me to express his best wishes. He knows firsthand the risks incurred by leaders who stand up to the corrupt political establishment. When you stand up, you bring on some trouble for yourself, but you have to do what's right. You have to do what's right for the country. I will tell you, we are both in this to do what's right for the country. That's one thing I can tell you. He lost his father and uncle in service to our country, and Bobby himself was subject to repeated threats to his safety during the course of his campaign while being denied protection by the Harris-Biden administration. And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts. And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And they will also conduct a rigorous review of the attack last month. But I tell you, I have never had more people ask me, please, sir, release the documents on the Kennedy assassination. And we're going to do that. And I also want to salute Bobby's decades of work as an advocate for the health of our families and our children. Nobody's done more. Millions and millions of Americans who want clean air, clean water, and a healthy nation have concerns about toxins in our environment and pesticides in our food. That's why today I'm repeating my pledge to establish a panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and childhood diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more. We want every child in America.
Bro, we're going to get so much weirder. This campaign is going to get even fucking weirder, dude. It's awesome.
So I just
this is so sick.
want to ask Bobby to speak for a little while. I'll stand aside. I'm going to stand aside.
Did he say he's going to reveal the truth of the JFK assassination?
But I can only tell you, I've known him a long time.
Please tell me he said that.
We've been a little bit on the opposite side of the equation, but I will say this. He is a brilliant, I still think of him as young. He's not that young. I always call him young, but he's not that young. But he is a phenomenal person, a phenomenal man who loves the people of this country as much as anybody can love the people of this country. So, Bobby, please say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know Kamala Harris declined to speak to him. Why would they?
Thank
Are you
you,
kidding
President
me?
Trump.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. Like, fuck off, dude. What are you talking about? You're insane.
Thank you. A few hours after the assassination attempt at Butler, I got a call from a safe food advocate named Kelly Means, who's been fighting for many years to try to end the corruption at CDC and FDA and USDA. And these institutions, these regulatory agencies, are actually run by the big food processing companies, the big ag and the chemical companies that they're supposed to regulate. And he said to me that he'd been advising me for many years and on my campaign. And he told me that night that he was also advising President Trump. And he asked if I would talk to President Trump. And I said, of course. And about a few minutes later, I got a call from the president. And we talked. We had a very good talk. And then he invited me to come see him the next day. And I went to Minneapolis and saw him. We met again a couple of weeks later in Florida. And we talked about, not about the things that separate us because we don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that bind us together. And one of the issues that he talked about was having safe food and ending the chronic disease epidemic. Our children are now the unhealthiest, sickest children in the world. Don't you want healthy children? And don't you want the chemicals out of our food? And don't
I'm not kidding. For a very specific type of voter, this is like the greatest move. Like, there are so many Americans who don't mind all the fucking forever chemicals and everything. They don't think about it at all. But they also simultaneously hate modern medicine and think that, like, as long as, you know, you eat like a weird diet, everything will be fixed in your life. And there are a lot of people like that.
Use that money back here in the United States.
This man is the God, okay? He's speaking God's honest truth.
And the safest, the best way to build a safe America is to rebuild our industrial base and rebuild the middle class in this country. And don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country? And he told me that he wanted to end the censorship because the whole basis of American democracy is the free flow of information. And we know that a government that can silence its opponents has license for any kind of atrocity. And can you think of any time that you can look back in history and say that the people who were censoring were the good guys? They're always the bad guys, because it's always the first step down that slippery slope to totalitarianism. And don't you want a president who's going to protect America's freedoms? And who is going to protect us against totalitarianism? And I want to ask you again, don't you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Why does RFK Jr. sound like he got stuck in a vibrating chair and doesn't know how to get out?
Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
I think there's, I don't know, you know, not to be too much of an optics guy, but like, it is funny that he's just like talking about, don't you want your children to be free of cancer? And it's like, bro, you look like you have all of the cancer. You look like you captured the essence of cancer. Like you sucked it out of everyone else in the room. I think there's also something really funny about RFK. There's so much. I love RFK so much. Fuck, man. I should have stolen the RFK Jr. hat that Brace had. God damn it. Okay. I fucked up. Like he gave it to me. He let me wear it for a little bit. And I was just like, I should have just kept it. Great DNC rally, this one. Honestly, dude, what he's saying is pretty reasonable. Shut up. Don't even fucking start, okay? No, it is not fucking reasonable at all, okay? Give me a goddamn break. This man is anti-medicine, dude. He's anti-medicine. There is nothing reasonable about what he's saying.
But if he were in a regular system, there are a lot of people that maybe liked him the best, but they said we can't.
Okay, I love RFK Jr. because he is such a contradictory character, right? He has the capacity to like, he's a crank magnet. He's what I like to call a crank magnet, right? Isn't this bad for Trump overall? Aren't most independents really repelled by this shit? A few pieces on his insane takes on medicine and CNN boosts his weird narrative a fuck ton. No. Yes. Trump did this because he's desperate. He did this because he wanted to either A, take out RFK from the ballots completely, or B, take out RFK from the ballots and get a fucking, get some kind of endorsement from him, because RFK was eating away at Trump's base. All of the polls showed, all of the triple polls that showed in swing states where the direct doubleheader matchup between Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris looked a lot closer, and even in some instances Donald Trump winning, versus with RFK Jr. on the ticket. All of a sudden he would take some from the Democratic Party, but he would take a shit ton more from Donald Trump. Okay? So he had to get him out because obviously this race for Trump is in the margins now. Like that's a big boost. He'll get a big boost. Problem is, it will also probably scare away some of the more like moderate voters, if he even has moderate fucking voters at all, like Trump at this point in his base of support. The thing is, what I want to talk about is how RFK is a crank magnet, but also incredibly contradictory as a figure. Because as a crank magnet, he presents himself as anti-establishment, despite the fact that he is from a literal political dynasty, the Kennedys, right? They are politics, okay? This is an American political dynasty. That's number one. Number two, he is literally, he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay? So like, while he is the guy who's like, yeah, I want to take out the deep state. He's like, bro, you literally were homies with Jeffrey Epstein. Self-admitted homies with Jeffrey fucking Epstein. Okay? That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, and on top of that, he is one of the, just like Donald Trump, biggest dick riders of Israel. So, like, it makes no sense that these crank guys who almost always are like, yeah, Jews are in control of American media and everything else, literally are also simultaneously like going for two guys that are somehow more ultra Zionist than fucking Kamala Harris is. Like, that's crazy. So it makes no damn sense, even in the fucking weird worldview that they've cultivated, you know?